Hey everyone, this video is a clip taken from one of my live streams. My current streaming schedule is going to be Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, I'll be doing either character design or animation. The two notable days of the week are going to be Wednesday and Friday. Wednesdays are going to be a group drawing session with channel members. I'll make a canvas on Magma Studio so we can all sketch together on the same canvas. And on Fridays, we'll have the audience poll to decide what we're going to draw, and I'll be having a guest each week. All of the full-length videos will be available to anyone who signs up using the Join feature next to the subscribe button on any YouTube video of mine. Members who sign up will not only get access to the VODs, but they'll also be able to draw along with me live. To access your member perks, just go to my channel page and head to the Community tab. There you'll see all the uploads of the VODs, as well as the links to the Magma Studio canvases that we'll be using for our group drawing sessions every Wednesday. Thanks so much, and I hope to catch you in the live streams. So you're trying to essentially go back and finish that up.
Yeah, like
Awesome.
just finished like a 1 minute thing out of it. I have rough animation for it. Most of it is done. Pretty much all of it is kind of done.
Mhm.
It's just that I just want to get it done out of the way. And this could be a good way to learn other tools. I'm working on like two projects at the same time. It's this one and
Dang.
the one with the Dog Knight.
Yes, I love that too.
So it's an interesting one because I think it's also like a very new way of compositing too that me and a friend are trying to do. Like in,
That's with the blender, right, in the 3D?
yeah, like 2D characters, but the textures and the material. So I think the materials like my friend would make a normal maps out of it, so it reacts to things like light and shadows and depth automatically. And it's just one of these things where we're just like, yeah, let's just make a little short film where we just have this dog knight just walking around, and that's it. Let's just waste people's time seeing this asshole walk around nice scenery.
I love it though. It's so cool.
It's
Um,
it's going to be a time waster for everyone. People
by
will
the
be like,
way,
"What the fuck?"
yeah. By the way, I have to say, I love anytime I'm watching one of your videos, and then you seem very like not soft spoken, but very kind and pleasant, and then all of a sudden, like a burst of profanity comes out, and it always catches me off guard.
It's sometimes I I'm not conscious that I do it. Like I'll
Yeah,
feel like, yeah, so here's how I make a character walk, and then the stupid little shit will
yeah,
do up and down pose, and there we go.
it's so funny though because it's just like completely unexpected, and yeah, I love it.
Ah, thanks.
Well,
Maybe I'll incorporate it more.
yeah, you just have to start cursing a lot more.
Sometimes I forget to edit a sound or like I forget to put in something I want to say. So when I edit, I'll do an obnoxious voice like, first you gotta know your anatomy, and then it has this like weird douchey awkward
Yeah,
voice, and it's just like you know I don't take YouTube seriously. It's just this
that's
thing
good.
where I just want to poke fun at it because number one, YouTube is like it's just like it's supposed to be fun for me, and I don't
Yeah,
like taking myself too seriously. I don't see myself playing a character, so there are YouTubers and artists that play a character. So I think Ethan Becker definitely
yeah.
plays a character for sure. Um, but everyone has their own shtick, and I'm just like, hey, I'm Toniko. Deal with it, you fucking idiots. I'm gonna talk about hard work. Hey Miyazaki, old prick, but cool guy.
Yeah. By the way, I thought that was a great point that you made of like, you could work super hard and be Miyazaki, or you could work super hard and be somebody that no one's ever heard about.
Yeah, because I think people do cherry pick examples. So it's kind of like there's another YouTuber that I really like watching. His name is Tech Lead,
Mhm.
and he's basically like this guy who lives with his parents. He brags himself as like, "Hi, I'm a millionaire, but I live with my mom and I drink hot water or hot coffee all the time." But then he made a really excellent point about people risking everything to chance,
Yeah.
and he was saying something like, people use Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg as examples of like why we should just drop out school and do our thing, but we kind of disregard all the other people who did the same thing and failed. Like we only have
Yeah.
like two prime examples that are like really really up there. And it's I see that in a bunch of Discord servers too. There's the like Ethan Becker's Discord server, like
Mhm.
there are people who will be like, "Oh, if Ethan Becker does Burn Hogarth, which I doubt he does, but like if he's gonna do it, I'm gonna do it too." It's like
Yeah. I'm a bad example too because I dropped out of school. I did finish the undergrad, but the latter part I dropped out of.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like dropping.
I'm always being like, yeah, just quit and pursue your dreams.
I
But
think, yeah, I think it's like it also it also think it's also part of like quitting your job too. It's like
yeah.
people who quit their job, they think they're gonna like, oh, I'm gonna make it big if I just like do my own thing, which yeah can happen, but it also requires a lot of planning. So if one
Yeah.
decides to drop out of school or quit their work, have sort of a plan that kind of like helps you get income, fulfill
Yeah.
some of those basic needs, so that you can spend that time to to foster your other plans.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like I tell everyone, like if anyone's going for like personal stuff, hire a bookkeeper so that person can deal with that stuff and you can focus on the other things, but make sure you have that plan where everything isn't so chaotic.
Yeah, you definitely got to make calculated risks, I think is probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, like just know like there is somewhat of a plan, and you do have like an alternate plan if things do start going south. So that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So, can we take a
Yeah.
look back at that dragon girl for a second? Because
Oh, okay,
you,
yeah, yeah. So
you,
I've only like drawn a few redraws, but these are just like, keys I'm gonna try and hit during the redraw.
okay.
But yeah. So if I just flip through the drawings, I'm just like getting all the major keys to me,
Yep.
and then I'm just gonna have to try and figure out how do I make it match. This is gonna be the painful part of the tie down. It's so painous. Any
I just like using the term panel. Oh,
super pain. It's
yeah.
painful. My new
Yeah.
job is pretty painful.
God damn
I mean,
it.
my new job has like I'm on a new production. It's an adult animation.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so it's like the last thing I was doing was like cute cuddling animals and shit like that. And now, my first scene is a brothel and there's an orgy. I'm like, holy shit, awesome. So I would draw it. My boss would be like, "Oh, you're holding back. This is adult animation. Be bold." I'm like, "Okay, bro." And he's like, "Oh no, whoa, this is too far. Toniko, mate, you got like people doing doggy styles here. What's your problem, man?" Like, so it's all good and fun.
Yeah, there you go.
I think once this thing is out, it's the project. I think it's been announced. It's Jane Woo's directing it. But once it's out, I'm gonna like put, "Hey guys, I worked on Veggie Tales, but I also worked on this." I can't wait till that happens.
It's a very diverse role. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, man. Like I'm not your kid. I'm not your Christian kid's cartoon guy anymore.
Oh, what? Yeah, you thought I only make animations that make you cry?
Or you think I only make storyboards of like dancing, floating fruits and vegetables?
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, man. I mean, I know you were gonna stream, right? So I don't want to hold you back on that too.
No, that's totally fine. I'll switch back to my can. I was enjoying the drawing, and I should do some drawing myself. Today is generally my off day, so I'm not too beholden to doing some intense drawings. But I'll share my screen. I'll get back to. I'll show you the changes that I did, or some of the ideas I did here, and you can tell me where I've gone wrong. Let's see. Oh, but a good thing that I got here is I got this awesome book which has got all these master shots from like epic movies throughout history.
Ooh,
I really
I
enjoy.
think I've heard about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's like just getting into the mindset of how your framing and everything changes the emotional quality, builds tension, all the storytelling and whatnot. I'm probably going to swap out everything in this like early exposition, but the idea is the idea in this early part is that he's sort of like straight. It's World War One. He's straight away from his like group of buddies. He's kind of lost. Um, and then he gets ambushed by this anime-esque German soldier. And I want him to be like a really not maybe not nervous character, but he's like new, I guess, or a new so like he's not very he's not very good at fighting. So I have him being very avoidant and like trying to get out of the way, and then he just gets his shit rocked. He's like, oh fuck, now I'm on the ground. Oh shit, and then he's gonna stab him and murder his. He's gonna stab him in the face, and then just at the last moment, his friends come in and rescue him. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. And then his friend like comes from behind.
Yeah, they come from essentially off screen, shoot him in the face. Oh, and I'll show you the character designs as well. Let's pull that up. I do have the keys, as a matter of fact. Thank you, daughter. So here's his sort of asshole friend.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess that's sort of the finish that I want to go for. I'm not sure if I'm going to play more with line weight, and I like to use those like heavy, dark cast shadows. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it, but it's my first go at one of these. So
Yeah, I mean, you could just like if you're animating on like on either Toon Boom or TV Paint, you could just make another layer with like 50% black. It looks like it's like just a multiply layer, right?
yeah, that is just a multiply layer on for this.
Yeah, so I can see it. I can see it be very easy and doable to do.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I haven't really explained much of the story, but the general theme of the story is essentially like, um, actually, I realized it was kind of a problematic plot line because the theme that I wanted to show is just like just because you're wearing sort of the good guy's outfit doesn't necessarily mean you are benevolent or a good person. And then I realized at first I was debating on doing World War One or World War Two, and then I realized that makes the potential Nazi characters sympathetic, and I was like, maybe that's not the lane I want to go for.
Oh right, yeah, that's yeah. I can see that being a really.
Yeah, but there's a less of an emotional response to World War One, so I set it in World War One.
I think yeah, I want to see more stuff set in World War One. After seeing like 1917,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
yeah, there should be more World War One stuff. I'm so tired of like good guys against Nazis. It's like okay, we get it,
We get it. We get it.
get it.
Um, yeah, essentially the idea here is this is more just like in terms of the story was just like an introduction to sort of like give you like an introduction to the character's personality and stuff, and then the main sort of story arc is going to start afterwards. I was kind of like debating if that was a good way to go, but it's not going to be. Um,
Oh, was it going to be like a bigger story after this, or
yeah, there was gonna see now. Here's where you're gonna give me grief here because I I was thinking about doing like even doing dialogue and going. I don't want to get too ambitious where I start doing too much.
like
Um,
I mean, sometimes like that's the way you figure out what your capabilities are.
yeah,
Back at Cal Arts, like there's this thing called the second year epic,
Yeah.
Because like once students make their 90-second film for the first year, it usually goes like, oh shit, I know how to make a film now, I know what the process is, I'm going to go big. And then when they try it, they're like, oh shit, this is actually way too big, I can't finish it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of why like second years, most of them don't really finish their films, or they they just like there's a lot of films that just remain unfinished. And whereas like third years and fourth years, it's like they kind of understand like what their powers are and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
much they can utilize. So
I
sometimes
think
you need to go crazy to.
I think what I might end up doing is sort of do this first section and bring that to like a finish in terms of backgrounds, compositing, and everything, and then see how long that takes me just to get all of that done. And then if I want to elaborate on it, then I can kind of go further from there.
Dude, compositing is going to be so fun. Like
I'm excited.
it is the fun part. It is like, ooh, rim lighting or overlight. And you'll spend like 2 hours just deciding like what color is great for that rim light. It's like the best kind of like procrastination. You're just like, oh my god,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the possibilities.
That reminds me of the similar experience I can relate to is like when I was recording music and we'd go to the studio and like once you finished up all your tracking and everything, like you finished up all the writing at that point, obviously, because you're in the studio, and then you have everything recorded, and then you're just like, there's this thing called reamping where essentially you can play your signal back through different amplifiers, and you're like, oh, what if I do this sound or change these effects? And that's always the most fun part.
Yeah, it's like the part where it's like it's not laborious. It's definitely not creative. It's
No.
just oh, what if we did it this way? Like
Yeah,
experimentation. I think it's like experimental side of things.
definitely.
Would you consider like making an online mini series, like let's say in terms of like very limited animation? You tell a bigger story, but the animation's like shot in like 8s or 12s or 16s, like very long exposures where it's like only 3 drawings per second.
I would like to do that. So I have two conflicting feelings here. So one of the things is doing, I like the idea of just doing like really well animated fight scenes.
Okay.
So even if there's like not much of a story there, it would be fun to do that. Um, the other possibility is maybe do things like proof of concepts so that I can like have maybe potentially bring more people on board.
It
Because
does help a lot, especially when you want to go for the indie route of
yeah,
like, hey, I got a project. Here's my sizzle reel. Oh, you like that? Help me out. Pay me
yeah,
money or join me.
yeah.
Ask.
If I was going to do a proof of concept series, it wouldn't be this one. I kind of just wanted to like make a small little story and just sort of bring that to a finish. But um, the storyline that I want to do, if I'm going to do a series about it, is called Amateur Hour, and it's these two, basically these two like teenage kids um, that go to. It's like set in like a cyberpunk kind of universe, but they go to parties and stuff. But then it always explodes into like a weird anime battle kind of thing.
This wasn't the thing that you were working on before, right? Because I know you.
No, I scrapped it. I scrapped it.
So that's the one you scrapped.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, oh, this short is entirely like it's like, is it different or is it a different character? That's what I thought at first. So I didn't know it was like a completely different idea.
Oh yeah, it's entirely different.
Right. Okay.
But I think I went into this one a little more organized. I like did a lot more prep work, a lot more prep design. That way, I like having sort of all the ducks in a row before I start just going for it, I guess. So
Yeah.
I like wrote out the story and whatnot on paper and stuff. But I think you know what I may end up. I'm now that I'm thinking about it, I may end up doing an abridged version of it so that I can actually make it feasible and get it done.
Okay.
Because
Like you could make some of the shot like the filler shots where it's more static, really static, and then all the fight scenes are like ridiculously well animated. Maybe
That's
like
yeah. Yeah.
it's like one shot is just like one drawing of a character like that, and then the next shot is like everything is shot in ones. Like it's so fluid to the point where you're just like, why the fuck did you do this? But
Yeah, yeah.
awesome.
I think if I end up like if I ever like work for studios or anything, I would want to do that sort of Sakuga fighting animation anyway.
It's a lot of fun. Like I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot about the Sakuga scene, and you also learn a lot about like the problem solving that they're doing too.
Mhm.
Um, it's like, oh my god, they're breaking down shapes, like really detailed shapes in very smart ways.
Yeah.
So
It's so cool.
yeah, I've always just wanted to make shorts where it's not even colored. It's just like rough animation with like it's alpha channeled so you can actually see the characters and stuff, and then just like have that as um, a short.
That would be interesting.
Like I've always
Yeah.
just wanted to do like a film that just looked more like a pencil test or
I
a
kind of like the way it looks. There's always that nice feeling of a pencil animation.
yeah. There's it's always like you kind of sense the energy more.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas like when everything is too cleaned up, it feels too. It doesn't feel organic anymore to me.
Mhm. I noticed that when I've tried cleaning things up that I'm like, yeah, it feels like you're cutting something out of it essentially.
Right. But
I think the level of polish on the shorts that you did, I think, is like kind of the perfect level. Um, like I like on Wolf Song, I think that's like a pretty like the line work isn't super duper tight. It's not like anime tight.
it's super rough. Like I mean, sketchy, and you can still see the underdrawings. And I think the reason for that was because like I wanted to get better at solid drawing, so I would like draw through every shape.
Okay.
I didn't even think about cleaning it up because I didn't have the time to do that. And
Yeah, yeah.
part of me just wanted to keep those lines in there, even though
I
people
think it
were
looks good though.
like, thanks. Like some people, like some, I did get people saying like, "Oh, it looks so unfinished. Why would you do that?" I'm just like, can't
I don't
please
know.
everyone, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
How like because I know you've been running a YouTube channel for quite a while. Do you get a lot of like crazy YouTube comments and drama and all that? Because I feel like it's so
Yeah.
inevitable, even if you are like the nicest guy out there or the most helpful guy out there. There's always some asshole who like says some really mean shit.
Yeah, I get plenty. I try to get better about it. It's not always easy to get to sort of not have a reaction to it. Um, I've tried to take it from the lens now of like, um, well, that person, not only did they not like it, but they were feeling upset enough to the point where they had to make it known that they did not like it. So
Yeah,
uh,
it's like they
that's a
want to
them.
be heard in a way.
Yeah. So I'm choosing this. That's my way of rationalizing it, I guess, and sort of allowing me to deal with the amount of feedback that you get when you run a YouTube channel without sort of going crazy.
Yeah, it's like it is so easy to see one comment out of a pool of so many where
Yeah,
some guy says like yeah, some crazy shit. And it's like oh fuck. It's sometimes
it's so hard.
it's hard to take in sometimes. And there are some really harsh ones where it's like, you know what, that was actually pretty valid. And it's like, okay, yeah, there he is making a pretty good point and I will do my best to do better. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think out of all the venues in terms of like the feedback, I think
YouTube is the worst.
YouTube is the worst. Than I mean, 4chan. Like you
Oh,
can't find like
okay.
posts about you, and it's like
Yeah,
okay, that's where it's like way out there. It's just not uh, public unless you actively look for it. And what I notice is that some people will like sort of like post or defend me, and then some unknown will reply like, "Oh, hey, Toniko, didn't think you'd be here." I'm like, "Oh man, it's." And I also know that some people will pretend to be you too.
Okay, okay.
So it's just like, yeah, there is some fucking
I
crazy people out there.
I encountered 4chan on the first year of doing YouTube, and then they wished death upon me. So I said, I gotta avoid this.
Yeah, so it's like
I don't think I deserve to die. You might not like me or like the
I
artwork.
deserve to die. Fuck you.
Yeah. Hey, fuck you, man.
Fuck you, man. I have the will to live. But yeah, it's kind of why like I don't really recommend everyone to go into YouTube because like I mean I have a lot of friends and knowing myself like who are also very vulnerable to these things too. So it's definitely not the right place if you are someone who can fall into that trap. But I think it's still like a pretty good place to just like shoot the shits. And
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I would not quit my job for YouTube.
No, no, no. Um, it's a weird. I like it in a sense where I feel like for me as a person, I need to be exposed to that to learn to not react to it almost. Like, I think that's one of my biggest flaws as a person. So it's like, it's good to, I don't know, maybe that's a weird way of rationalizing it, but I like having that exposure to it so that I'm almost training myself to not be offended by criticism, although it's not working entirely. Just,
I agree what you're saying though. It's like it kind of like helps you kind of figure out okay, this thing is going to happen a lot. How am I going to get better at reacting to it? And I think like being exposed to it is actually a good thing because it's going to make you make decisions of like how you choose to respond to these things. So
yeah, yeah.
like I think it is worth it in a way. And it does like require like a lot of like thinking about okay how am I going to go about it next. Like there are people who keep saying like fuck you Toniko, your microphone sucks, go kill yourself. I'm just like I'm never going to change my mic, deal with it or fuck off because like
Yeah.
I don't see myself as a crazy YouTuber.
No, I mean, and I don't know. It's like, that's not really the important part, and you're making content that's super helpful.
I hope it's
So,
helpful.
I
Like
think it is. It's helpful to me, so I don't know.
I just want to make videos where it's like it's fun and it's something that I would watch. So I'm glad that people are responding well to it.
Mhm.
Who other art YouTubers out there? There's Ross Draws.
Well, we
There,
have a bunch of them on here that come on the live stream a lot. There's Ahmed Eldori comes on here a lot if you're familiar with his stuff.
who?
Ahmed Eldori,
I mean, I
he's
don't know.
on here all the time. He's a really really awesome concept artist.
Okay, wait. How do I spell his name?
Ahmed.
Ahmed Ahmed. Oh,
A
okay. I'll do Dory. Oh yeah, yeah. I know this. I've seen this guy's stuff.
Yeah, he's awesome.
There's okay. Here, let me subscribe because I didn't think I. Why wasn't I not subbed to him? This dude deserves more love.
Oh, he's the best.
There's Ergo Josh.
Yep.
He's got the guy who draws in pink.
There's Proco
Oh
for
yeah,
your anatomy needs.
yeah. He's the life drawing guy. Um,
There's Toniko.
there's me. You're gonna get is like swearing puppies in my channel.
Yeah, there you go.
There's Ethan, of course. There's Laura Price. I feel like, oh yeah, there's Bam Animation.
Oh yeah, they're. I remember I saw them, and then the next time I saw them, they were at like 1 million subscribers or something.
Yeah, like they grew pretty fast. So it's like because You know, how many subscribers do you have right now?
Think I just wait. I think I'm at like 340,000 or something.
That's how, like, in terms of like the subs and like the income you get out of it. Is it like a
Mhm.
lot, or is it just like it's like side passive income for me at least? Like,
So I would say probably side where I was sort of getting most of the income from was Patreon and the Gumroad, and then I was teaching with Brainstorm. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the
yeah,
Brainstorm tool, um, but I tried to. I felt like I was getting pulled in so many different directions, and for me, the whole point of doing this in the first place is to work on my own stuff. So I kind of have closed down a lot of things. So I took a big pay cut this year by um, not really focusing on Patreon, or I suspended the Patreon, and I'm not really making any new Gumroad content. Just sort of getting residual from that. Uh,
um,
and
so you
then,
do a
oh
lot
yeah,
of
and then,
sponsorships.
what was that?
Did you do a lot of sponsorships?
Oh yeah. I did last year and the year like the years prior, but now it's really mostly the membership program and Gumroad. Gumroad still gets enough to pay rent and everything, um, which is fine as long as I'm comfortable and not worrying about losing everything. I'm totally fine with that. Um, and I think because also I think my channel grows around 6,000 new subscribers every month. So that's like
Nice.
new people that could be picking up videos and stuff.
Yeah, like, I mean, the great thing about YouTube is, for me, it's like great marketing for my Gumroad, which honestly has been like really good passive income for me. So, like, YouTube is great for like, oh, here's a project that I'm working on. Here's a thing that I'm trying to sell. Let's make
Yep.
a video of it. So it is like a good way to. I mean, I don't see YouTube as a great place to sort of like make money solely on, but it's a great way to advertise another thing where you could make money off.
It's a good waypoint, and like it keeps people notified about what the hell you're even doing.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Patreon, but I don't really use it. Well, I only use it to like say, hey, I make YouTube videos, and you can donate $1 just to support what I do. But I don't really do anything like, if you pay me $5, you get secret footage of me. You'll get OnlyFans.
Oh, oh no. People might be into that though if you wanted to go down that lane, the OnlyFans lane.
The OnlyFans lane.
Mhm.
Do animators or artists use OnlyFans, or is it just like
I think it's just porn people.
this? Okay, makes sense then. Because I'm
You
like,
could be the first though if you want to get down that lane.
oh man, I feel like it would be also so much work to get into that market too. Like, I mean, I was talking to a bunch of friends or acquaintances who also work in like the porn animation like world.
Oh
It,
wow.
it's like it sounds like so much work just to get into it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I had a friend from work who she said that she did this, this, it was like an 8 drawing loop of some character doing their diddly dangle thing. And she said it paid like 2 months of her apartment rent.
Whoa.
It's like, whoa, just by doing that. Like, no wonder like now a lot of really talented animators are getting into that market.
I mean, listen, I'm sure it needed an update because I can't, that's a difficult thing to turn people on that way. So, you
It's
know,
I was talking to another friend of mine, and we were saying like, you know what? That's, if someone gets like turned on by like your art, that's actually quite
that's
flattering.
crazy.
It's like, oh wow, you think my art is worth that? Oh man,
Yeah.
it's like, I can see why it's so flattering.
It's got to be pretty crazy. Honestly can't imagine doing that. I feel like, I mean, one, it's just not in my wheelhouse or like where my motivations lie for doing art, but like, I think it's got to be like one of the highest compliments to your piece of artwork.
Yeah, like honestly, I mean, when I draw a character and people say, "Oh, what a cute character," oh, it's like they're very pretty or they're handsome. It's like, oh, I can understand that.
If
Shit.
they were real, I would bang them. That's what they're saying.
If yeah, that's what they were probably saying. Which is like honestly, I wouldn't mind at all. Like, so this Dog Knight character that and my friend are working on,
Mhm.
like after I showed the designs of the character, like I got a lot of comments of people saying like, "Hey, I'm not a furry," but and it's like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. And
That's
then
so funny.
we actually found a voice actor for that character, and he said some lines, and me and my friend were like, "Oh, this is going to be a very thirsty character. Like, he's a knight. He's got a very suave voice.
Oh shit.
We'll see how it goes. But other than that, we just want to waste people's time watching some asshole walk around some nice scenery."
That's awesome. So no plot, just him walking around and it looking very pretty.
There is somewhat of a plot, but it's not really important. It's just like background it's material.
I kind of like that. You know what it reminds me of? Do you know the lo-fi playlist on here on YouTube with the girl that's studying?
Yeah, no, honestly, I would do a lot of just like atmospheric stuff where it's just things like that, like set pieces and
Yeah, yeah.
atmosphere. I was actually going to do something like that for a pretty big game studio,
Oh
but
yeah.
they were like, "Oh, we're not going to. You can't say that you did it, and you can't share it on your social media." And it's like all these things that they were saying that felt restrictive. I was like, "Okay, then pay me this much." And they're like, "Oh, no, that's out of our budget. Okay, bye." So that never happened.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know like what the reasoning is behind that, like why they wouldn't be open to just like being okay with that negotiation side. Like, okay, if you're only gonna pay this much, let me do this.
Yeah, I think it's strange that I don't see what a reasoning for not letting you show it would be. I don't understand. Like you did it.
The only thing I can think of, I mean, this is just like me, just thinking out of my ass. Could also be like maybe they don't. Maybe they have like a certain policy where they want to keep an image where everything is done in house.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's some like politics to it, but that's the only thing that I can think of. And again, I might be wrong. Like that could also not be the truth, and there could be more to that.
I think on that note, one of the things that I like in terms of the idea of being an independent artist or animator is I like the idea of being able to show everything and sort of keep everything.
Yeah, like being able to just show what you're working on and just having that interaction with people too. Like, hey, here's what I'm working on. Oh, you guys think it's
Yeah.
nuts? Well, fuck you. End the stream. Just having that.
Yeah. I feel like I can't be objective about anything I'm working on ever. So like I personally feel like I need that sort of feedback to really know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think it's good to have like just feedback here and there.
Yeah. I guess when you're in a studio you have people telling you, so they will literally tell you if it's good or not.
Yeah, like I think that's kind of what I like about the being the studio industry. Sometimes I don't want to keep thinking about what I'm going to do next. I just want people to
Yeah.
sort of like tell me, okay, draw this scene and I'll do it, and it's kind of refreshing. And sometimes I do things that I wouldn't go for. Like I wouldn't animate a horse just because I'm bored. If they told me to animate a horse because of work, I'll learn from that. So it is
Yeah, yeah.
get out of comfort zones. Whereas if I'm on my own all the time, then I'll only resort to things that are familiar to me.
That's a
So
really good point.
that's the only thing that I see that me being that there could be a fault of being fully independent, because sometimes I can see myself fall into the trap of not growing unless I force myself to experiment.
Yeah. The other thing I can speak from experience is it can be really easy to be like, oh, but this all sucks, so I'll just throw it out
Yep.
kind of thing. So I'm forcing myself not to do that, but it's really easy to do that.
I have so many abandoned projects because I just lost hope for them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, honestly, like, I've learned to realize that it might be really terrible to you, but to others, it might be like worth looking at. And
Yeah.
if you are pretty far with it, just like wrap it up and, poo it out. It's done
I've
there.
I've also told myself specifically this year is like a shitty but completed project is better than a perfect but never released project.
Yeah, because like not many people are going to be able to say, "Hey, I finished a 1 minute short." Like,
Yeah,
it's not perfect, but it's like
it's
there's not
there.
a lot of people who can say, like, "Yeah, I finished it and I did it on my own, and then I know how to do it." There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who tend to criticize other people for like doing work that's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, he did a short, but it's not that great." But have they even made a short? No. So they're talking out of their asses when they pull off stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it happens a lot. There are people in the industry who are like that. Like they tend to be very critical of like people outside the industry for like doing something that resembles to what they're doing in the industry, and then like say things like, "Oh, look at this guy trying to make his own thing." Well, we wouldn't hire him. You're just like, I mean, dude, like, have you ever tried making something like this? Like, no. So shut up.
That's crazy to me. I don't know. I think the fact of like pursuing your own thing seems to me to be like the coolest or the I don't know. I'm just always super impressed by that.
I love like David O'Reilly, right? Like
I actually don't.
he is. I mean, he does like a lot of like really experimental CG related stuff.
Hmm.
Um, he actually like directed the that PS4 title, like everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I mean, like if I were to like to take a class like about making a film, I would take his over someone like maybe Glenn Keane, for example, because it's like, oh, I want to see how this guy actually makes a film. Whereas with Glenn Keane, he's definitely the Disney animator, and I know what he's going to do. And but if you look at other people like independent filmmakers, it's like you get to hear about how they solved a lot of problems because they do a lot of problem solving with whatever limitations they had or
Yeah.
direction they were going for. So I find that really inspiring.
Um so I wanted to I left a comment actually. I was just thinking about this because you talked about in one of the videos like producing your own things or your own shorts or proof of concepts. Um and I forget what you were saying. I think you were saying something like, "Oh, is it might not get you anywhere, but it's like maybe it's worth doing anyway." And
Mhm.
I don't know where I was going to go with this question because I'm a terrible interviewer. But I don't know. Maybe you could talk about the just the process of like making things, pitching them to studios,
Okay.
and how that's gone. Because I'm personally super curious about it because it's an avenue and a sort of a life path that I really like. The idea it's very appealing to me. The idea of like coming up with ideas, making proof of concepts, and maybe selling them.
Yeah. So when it comes to like proof of concepts, to me, I just treat it as like a visual piece. Some people say that it'll easily sell a show, but that's entirely not true.
Mhm.
Some people can sell a show idea or a movie idea just by pitching it in an elevator or just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a few pieces of art. Pitching and I think like making the product itself, they're completely different things because pitching is another skill to learn, like salesmanship. Uh,
yeah,
and knowing how to like hit those exact beats and to get rid of the clutter. So if you were told to pitch the entire your entire idea for a show, try and pitch it in under 15 minutes, that's going to be like what things are you going to highlight, what things are you going to leave out. and that's just like a completely other skill to have. Now, the
Yeah.
great thing about proof of concepts is that it is like sort of a visual piece that can help people visualize what this product is about. If it does have some story elements, maybe that does help. But I think a proof of concept can work if you did it for like independent productions, because that's a vision. That's a product that you can kind of like see and feel already. So it's like, okay, you're the one who made it. There's already an expectation of like, okay, so if I do support you, we're going to get something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does help. It does help a lot. Would I recommend everyone to make a proof of concept for their idea? Nah, it's not needed. I only did it because it's fun.
Yeah. I think another thing, at least for my own sort of, I guess I'm just sort of trying to shoot my ideas out there just because I like to get some feedback on it. But I think you can also use that footage for things like Gumroad videos, YouTube videos, etc.
Yeah, like I mean, I did record like me animating the whole thing from beginning to scratch. I just never like compiled it because I just
Yeah.
don't know how to. Well, I mean, it would be so much work.
Hmm.
But yeah, like if you made a project and then you made a making of and then just sold that for like, I don't know, like $4, and then you have the files, you have like a tutorial included. It's like there's value to that, which is something that I should have. Well, I could still do it. It's just
You
it
could.
require a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I don't
And
know. I like the idea of potentially doing that in the future. I definitely need a lot more experience, but that's part of what I'm trying to do now.
like just definitely being more independent, animating and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't know. I think I'm just so used to the idea of working for myself at this point that it seems really weird to not be in charge of my own stuff.
I mean,
I guess you
yeah,
could do freelance.
yeah.
That seems to be a happy middle ground.
Each to their own. I think like um I do think like there is a great thing to just like making stuff of your own, but I also think there is also a joy to like working on other stuff too, like other people's stuff or freelance. Honestly, like if I left the industry, I'd probably like do more of a freelance life because it's like I get to do things I don't really actively think about.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you said there earlier about like animating horses because you don't do that very often or something like that is one of the more important things.
Yeah, and it's like, that's a great thing about being in a studio environment. You're told that, oh, we need this sequence done, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, and I'll probably learn something out of it. And I think that's why a lot of like, a lot of people in the industry do learn a lot by staying
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
industry for quite a long time. But that's not to say that you can't learn outside of it too, because this is what I'm getting at. So I work mostly as a story artist, but I've also done 2D animation work for some projects, and some you can only go so far into knowing those worlds. But what if I want to learn about writing or learn about management and things like that?
yeah,
Those
yeah.
are really unique skill sets to learn, and I think like anyone who like leaves the industry or decides to do things on their own will learn so much that they can eventually like help others if they want to do the same thing, and I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the point I wanted to make was that I feel like my artistic ADD or the wanting to write a story, animate, and do all the different aspects of it um, is a both a good thing, but also a detriment in terms of getting other work potentially.
Like in terms of like just your portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's sometimes where I'll like, if I'm working on this project, like one day I'll want to focus on the character designs, or one day I want to do the storyboards, or maybe I want to work on the soundtrack because I like writing music or writing the story itself. And so I feel like I enjoy doing each and every one of those puzzle pieces,
Hmm.
or at the very least, I like having a part in each one of those, I guess.
Yeah, it's like basically being a jack of all trades.
Exactly what you talked about in that video there.
Yeah, it's like I think it's great that like everyone has multiple disciplines and talents. But yeah, it is sometimes true where like when they're looking for like let's say people to hire, they say, "Oh, we need a story artist who can who's really tight in this type of thing."
Yep.
But honestly, like being like if you have multiple skills, it does help in terms of like being hired too. That's for sure. Like I know there are some projects, storyboarding projects where I was brought on because like they said like, oh, we brought you on because we liked your animated proof of concept, and it's like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
okay, it does lead to like it does open doors.
Okay. Good. Then maybe I shouldn't be such a pessimist about it then.
I mean, like it's definitely going to open doors like if you finish like a proof of concept or a short film because yeah, like it shows that you can take initiative.
All right, then that's I will definitely keep. I mean, either way, I'm going to keep doing it. So we'll see what happens.
Like um don't don't like give it up.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm like I said, I'm my main goal this year, especially, is see it all the way out, and it's better if it's even if I don't like it, having a thing that's done that can be presented to people is much more valuable.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that you can add to your portfolio, and then it's like if you want to grow that world more, it's like, hey, you like that? Well, you know, pay up, pay some more, give me some money so I can hire a team instead of doing this all by myself because it sucks. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so yeah, now like if you want to see more, then pay up, sucker.
I'll just have like a little thing at the end of each animation that just says "Pay up, sucker."
Pay up, sucker.
Let's talk about your favorite animations because you talked a lot about before. You talked a lot about animes that you liked, um, and I know you were obviously super influenced in the early years by Disney. But can you talk about yeah, just talk about your influences and how they've sort of grown.
I think my influences tend to change all the time.
Mhm.
So frequently because there'll be times where I'll be like, oh, anime, that's where it's at. Then I'll look at Mill Call pencil tests and be like, oh, that's where it's at. And then Disney Renaissance, like James Baxter, Aaron Blaze, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's where it's at. And then Russian animation, oh, no, 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 you got it all wrong. This is where it's at. So I tend to change it all the time because like I like to just like see things and say, hey, that was pretty cool. I think nowadays, like, I just want to get better at drawing and making those drawings work and be a better problem solver. And I think that's kind of why I've been like looking more in anime because they do a lot of that.
Yeah,
Like, oh, they draw really well. Like, there's a lot of good hand drawings, and the shape language is so good. So, there's something that I just want to embody from that.
yeah. I've also noticed with anime specifically, it's like a lot of if they have a good drawing or a good frame, it's like, oh, let that frame just hang out for a while, or there's a lot of very like well used efficiencies.
Yeah, and they're also really good at like doing dynamic stuff that a lot of people tend to kind of not kind of dismiss. Like I remember like a lot of dynamic shots really work well because they're so unafraid to have the character like pop out of the screen and then come back
Yeah,
the next time later. Whereas in like a lot of Western animation, we tend to like show the full performance in like that entire shot. And it's like, no, it'd be nice to have like a character like come straight to the camera, then leave for a few seconds, and then you just see a fist, and then you see the character rising from that, and that
yeah,
makes it a lot more dynamic. And it's like, oh shit, that's like actual design in animation.
that's
Like
awesome.
there's a design sensibility to it.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm definitely more interested in the anime style. I mean, I actually don't know. I like everything, so it's hard to tell. But I love the a lot of the action in anime, and I like that idea of using, like you said, just very dynamic shots, a lot of super wide angle shots, or the character taking literally leaving or taking up the whole screen, or super close zoom ins on their eyeballs,
Yeah, just like those extremes.
just eyes popping out of their head.
Yeah, I mean, I come from like the whole Western world of animation where you are just constantly hammered by people saying like, oh, you should make work on the acting, golden poses, key poses, beautiful acting choices, and you're just like, good lord, like this is so it's just so tiring too. Like I think the acting side of animation is important, but it's also super subjective. So I have a certain way of showing frustration, and then like my teacher would be like, "Well, I just don't think this is the right way of showing frustration. When I'm frustrated, I would do this. So here is something I would do." And it's just like, good lord, ugh. I wonder if it's like if people who work in anime do sort of go through the same thing. Like,
Oh, they're like, oh, that is too Western.
you're pushing the action too much. That's not how I would do a punch. I would make it twist some more, or I would add impact frames.
No, you don't understand. When I get angry, my head turns 8 times the size, and my eyes
My
form a
eyes pop
circle.
up,
Yeah,
and there's like impact frames left and right.
yeah, that'd be really funny.
But I think yeah, like the anime style is getting really. I mean, it's always been popular, but I think people getting into the sakuga scene is getting a lot more popular because it's become more mainstream. There's a
Yeah,
lot more Western animators that use it too. Like Samuel Dietz, Spencer Wan, like these are guys who are really fostering, making the sakuga scene really big in the Western animation world and making it more accessible for learning it.
yeah, I'm all about it because pretty much only watched anime when I was growing up, and then I kind of like not forgot about it, but when I started learning, I just didn't think it. I don't know. I think I fell into that trap that you do, where your teachers are like, "Oh, that's not real art," or whatever it is.
Yeah, like I remember, I think it was a character design class, and the teacher looked at his students' work and said, I mean, I love the teacher, and he was just being honest. He basically said, the recruiters or the people in the industry are going to look at this and say it's too anime, and
Yeah,
this might be problematic. And I think like everyone should learn how to adapt to many different styles. Like I think if you aren't able to do that, it decreases your lifespan in a studio environment if you decide to go down that route. That's why like people like story artists who can only do like comedy and their show ends, they most of them just like leave the studio because they can't fit in any other production.
oh, okay.
Whereas like a good story artist or someone who is well rounded and can adapt to many different things, like let's say they're early childhood cartoon raps production. Now they get that they have the skills to be able to jump into like a Marvel DC action adventure show.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's important for people to have like a pretty diverse portfolio and a collection of work rather than just like do what they're good at because it can get you far, but I think it also makes that lifespan shorter in terms of like staying in one place.
yeah. That makes sense.
I think that's kind of why like yeah, everyone should also it's also important for everyone to work on their draftsmanship.
I think draftsmanship's important.
It's definitely super important. I just think like I think
I think I thought it was too important when I first started, but I don't regret it. I don't
I think
regret.
a lot of people do. I mean, I was like that too because when I was in Chadwick College, they really stressed draftsmanship, and then in Cal Arts, it was much more expressive. The only thing I have about the only problem I have with like draftsmanship is just like how people fetishize the idea of draftsmanship. Like there's a Discord that has a bot that always reminds like the users like the 6 rules of draftsmanship. gesture, form, perspective. I'm like, dude, I never think of dress and shit like that. That's like super absurd. And it's like they always bring up like all these artists like Andrew Loomis, Glenn Vilppu, like if you want to get better at dress and shit, just look at these guys, Bridgman, and it's like
Yeah, yeah.
you kind of have to like teach these people how to actually like be have intentions rather than just like following like this is a rule to dress and shit. Like if you want to get better at solid drawing, like start drawing just from blocks and then getting a better feel of that solid construction with simple shapes, and then look at other artists who have a more structural style of drawing, and then just study them rather than just say, "Yeah, this is the only way to get better." Through Loomis drawings,
Yeah.
through Richmond.
I felt like in terms of my solid drawing, it got the best, oddly enough, after I started being really loose. Like I spent a lot of time just like focused on being gestural and loose, and then I felt way more comfortable just doing like 3D forms with very organic shapes and whatnot. But it was kind of weird because I felt like I spent so much of my early time drawing being so precise with the line work where it was like, okay, it has to be perfect the first time.
Yeah, like I think when I was in Sheridan, they like there's a I think there was like a criteria to get into the animation program, and one of them was like line cleanliness and line boldness. Anything sketchy was too illustrative, and you would get low
Yeah.
marks for that. And I draw in a very sketchy style. There's a lot of animators who do that too, and I think it's like
You could do both. There's no reason because like I I like the final product of my drawings to look very clean, but like I've practiced doing it where I just go straight in with the clean lines. I practiced working with a super loose colored pencil or Copic marker and kind of making it going that way and getting a lot of energy immediately.
right.
I don't think there's one way it's got to be done.
Yeah, and there are places that always there are some places that still vent out like, yeah, if you want to work in animation, you got to draw like just one stroke per line, and it's very alienating that process because it's like I think if you're going to keep making people like if you just keep telling people like no that's not the way you do it, this is the only way you should do it, it's going to make that community a bit more incestuous, like they're going
Yeah.
to be afraid to experiment or just to like break the rules, and I think
Yeah.
those rules are set so you can break them and
Yeah.
like destroy them and see how far you can go with that.
I think what I've noticed as well is that there's sort of a trade off, right? And it's a pretty apparent trade off that the more clearly you focus on draftsmanship and quality, the less sort of letting that intuitive part of your brain take over and sort of run the show.
Yeah, like I think there has to be like a healthy dosage of like this is my time of like drawing solid, and this is my time where I just draw stickmen,
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
blind contour drawings. Oh, nose, mouth. What is this? I don't know. It's being experimental, artsy. That's another thing. Like anything that isn't like solid drawing, it's like, oh, he's being artsy fartsy, fine artsy. It's like, oh, okay. That's
Here's something I want to know. What do you do when you're not arting?
when I'm not arting. So I used to do a lot of like grappling,
Oh,
um,
cool.
so like jujitsu, but because of the whole pandemic, we had to stop doing that. We did do a bit of it like a few months ago, like just with a few other people. And then during Christmas, I actually caught COVID for like a week. I thought I was going to go through like viral shedding because once you get it, apparently you're going to be tested positive if you have it because your body goes through this viral shedding and COVID just
Yeah.
takes forever to get rid of. But you know, I felt sick one day, and then I got tested positive, and it just felt like a normal cold to me. Like I just felt not well, but it wasn't anything severe. And then the next week, like I was totally fine. I went for the test and everything was negative, so I didn't have to go through the vial shedding. So I wonder if I actually did have it or if it was just like if the symptoms were very minuscule. So because of it being contagious, and I'm very careful. Like sometimes I'll
Yeah,
wear double mask in public places. I still got it. So it is super contagious.
it is. Yeah, it's an extremely contagious thing.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of why we stopped for a while until until everyone's vaccinated or a good amount of people get vaccinated.
Yeah,
A few of my friends have already gotten vaccinated because they work frontline, and I think next in line, I think our teachers, right?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I think we're last in the line.
What
Um,
animators and artists?
Animators and artists, you guys did really well during the quarantine, so you guys go last.
You guys don't go outside anyway, so you don't need it.
Yeah, like until you see the sun.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, like I'm pretty patient. Like I can wait. What I can't wait for is the PS5 to restock. They keep
Oh
running
shit!
out of stock, and it's frustrating. And I just want to have my PS5.
What are you gonna play? What's your first? What's your first thing?
Definitely Spider Man,
Oh, cool, cool.
but there's no real new game that I'm just like, yeah, that's where it's at. Not yet, but it's so hard to get one right now.
I think the series I'm excited about is any Soulsborne, Dark Souls kind of thing.
Oh, Demon Souls,
Yeah,
right?
Demon Souls. I'm very excited about, and I have to give a shout out to my friend in the chat, Mr. Clamps, who is a Dark Souls speedrunner.
Oh my god,
It's
such a hard
ridiculous.
game.
He's so good. He has speed run all of them. Sekiro, Demon Souls, Dark Souls. It's insane.
I wonder, like, what's so I would want to know like what is sort of like the lifestyle or the expectations of a speedrunner. Like, how do they time it? What's the
There's a whole
what do
community.
it's crazy big. And then I remember like I also watch videos of like people getting called out for using an emulator for their thing. Like, oh, you're no real speedrunner. You used an emulator. Here's proof. In the split second, you have this frame going, but in actual versions of the game where it's not emulated, this would happen. You little shyster.
Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, that's wow. That is some serious stuff. Clamps. I don't know if you can, if you've had this experience while you're doing this, but
Like
oh,
I think
he's a no hit runner. I'm sorry, he's not a speed runner.
no hit. Oh, okay. So I
That's
mean,
even. It sounds worse to me, honestly, or more difficult.
game like Demon Souls, yeah, no hit runner.
It's fucking crazy.
But yeah, like that community can get pretty insane. Like when they detect something's off, like if they see like a frame that is a bit off, they'll be like, whoa, this guy's cheating," or "Whoa, this guy's not using the right tools." You're
Yeah.
just like, crap.
It's like, yeah, but you're all speed running it or no hit running it. Like, it's already impressive, even if it was a frame off.
Yeah, so it's gnarly.
Well, Clamps, we love you. We appreciate you, and we're proud of you for managing to do that, defying all odds.
Yeah, make all those people crying in the Demon Souls world, make them jealous.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, make them feel like shit about themselves.
Yeah, make them feel like crap. Drink their tears.
I like that. I like that. This is just going to turn into us bullying people now.
Oh, like when I play Call of Duty with my friends
Uh,
who are also like people in animation. Have you played Call like Warzone?
I have played it. I don't play it frequently.
It's like, but like how you start the map like parachuting, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we just chase one person, like all four of us gang up on a person and we just kill him as soon as we like, and we'll be like, sometimes we're very intentional about it. We'll be like, hey, let's bully this guy over there, and we'll be like, yeah, let's bully him. We all chase him and we'll just whack him.
That's fucked up, but I like it. It's the type of fucked up I approve of.
It's I feel terrible about it, but at the same time, it's just funny. Like
It is. It's a video game. That's what it's for.
until they start cheating, that's when it's like, oh,
Yeah.
bullying one person, that's one thing, but cheating, I have morals, man.
Yeah. I mean, it does sound like that's kind of cheating if you're not supposed to be on a team and then you're all teaming up on somebody. But you know what? We'll let it slide here. We'll give you the MDJ pass on that.
I remember it wasn't Call of Duty, but it was like another battle royale game. H1Z1. I can't remember what it's called, but
Oh, Arma was it? No, wait, not Arma. Okay, I know what it is. I just don't
it's
remember what it was called.
like there's Chinese players that they're all not in the same team,
Mhm.
but they'll all act like they're in the same team, so they'll kill anyone that's not wearing a red shirt.
Oh shit,
It's yeah, like it is so crazy.
fucked up.
Are you mostly a PC person or a console person?
So I'm all of the types of person because I originally, when I was younger, I always played on consoles. But recently, I got a kick-ass PC, so I've just pretty much switched entirely to PC gaming. But I've just been playing chess now, so you don't really need a good PC for that.
Apparently, chess has gotten pretty popular. Like
Oh
even
yeah, yeah,
two of my Call of Duty friends like started playing chess and then watching live chess games.
yeah. It's become a huge thing in the past couple months.
You think it's because of Queen's Gambit?
I think that's a big part about it. We talked about it last night on my stream. It's Queen's Gambit. A couple of grandmasters stream a lot.
Isn't Dwight from The Office a chess player? Like the guy who
I
played?
actually don't know, but I would watch him stream if that was a thing.
I might be mistaken.
Well, it would be awesome if it was true because I would definitely watch Dwight from The Office play chess.
I never watched The Office until like last year. No, not last year. Maybe 2 years ago. But
You,
I'm glad that I did. Like,
you were missing out. Yeah, it's a great show. That's one of those shows. It just got every. I mean, until people stop liking it, but it kind
oh
of
yeah,
it's one of those shows that you can watch just in the background, like if you're doing something else, which makes it good. Um, like there's something I've noticed about the show. There's something just like appealing to have it on. It almost feels like being surrounded by friends, which is a pretty creepy parasocial type thing to say, but um, I think that's why so many people watch it, though.
yeah, and I think it's just also like the way it's shot. Like it feels down to earth, and
Yeah,
like the bit where it's all the cringy stuff. It's like it feels too real.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I haven't been watching any. I've just been rewatching old anime that I used to watch in the past. Like I'm nearly done with rewatching Cowboy Bebop,
Oh
and
shit, I'm doing the same thing.
yeah, like I didn't realize I totally forgot
Yeah,
how good it was. Like in terms of like the cinematic language and storytelling. Oh my god, it's so good.
it is so good. Yeah, I'm on episode 6 now.
I'm on the 20s.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. I missed out on the. No, I didn't miss out. I've seen it before. It's just that now I have a better mindset to be like, oh, I can see why I like this. Like, oh, they're making some smart decisions here.
Yeah, yeah. So wait, explain the mindset thing. So in terms of like what was your mindset in prior to it that it was that you were struggling watching it? Was it like you were comparing or is it that type of thing?
No, I think it was more like you're only looking at it in one perspective. So the first time I watched it, it's like, oh, the animation's great, the art direction's great, like the visuals are great, and yeah, the stories and the characters are great. But then like you start realizing like the choice of music that they use, the style, the way they present the story, or the way like stories unfold,
Yeah.
like or yeah, just the way like they experiment too. It's like holy crap, they're doing some things that are way ahead of its time. Because like I would watch that, and then I would watch another like space anime like Outlaw Star, or and that one is like okay, that's definitely an anime. Whereas like Cowboy Bebop, it's like holy crap, it's like everything feels so different from each other, and it's intriguing. And you can see like oh, by using this music, it creates this sort of feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that when I mean it's a pretty obvious one in the sense that the music is such a big part in it. So it's really cool to see how the sound design plays such a big role in the way that the show plays out. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
gives
like
this playful vibe to everything, but it's like serious but still intense and playful.
God, yeah, like man, there are just some episodes that just make me like deep in thought, and I would just stop watching for a while and just think about it. It's kind of like it's kind of what I also enjoyed about Adventure Time too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like those episodes can get deep, even though like the episode itself, it's like it's very quick and casual, but then like they'll say something and you're just like, holy shit, that was
Yeah,
deep.
yeah. That
Like
seems like a perfect type of show though. Like it has a range because it gets all of the potential emotions, but also doesn't take itself too seriously.
man, like I remember there was an episode where I think one of Jake's kids was turning 30. Such a good episode. Like how they were able to like talk about that. Oh my god, it's like it was just so casual. It's like I think it just ended with the character like looking at her reflection, saying, "Oh, hey, I have a wrinkle in my eye," and it's like, "Holy crap!" That was just like, and it was just like the character's like accepting it. It's like so good,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. It does a good job of that for sure, where it's like subtle, not too on the nose, and yeah,
Yeah.
super
Oh no,
funny at the same time.
everything's so in the nose now. Like there's a lot of cartoons that it's blatant what they're trying to say, and honestly, I have no problem with it. It's just that like it, it doesn't need to be force fed. Like
Yeah, yeah. I'm probably gonna fall into that trap. I'm gonna try to not to not do that, but I feel like it's hard. I've never that's something you do very well, by the way, that I appreciate is just you seem to do a really good job of like conveying emotions with or I guess just conveying emotions in the piece in general.
it's been a long time since like I've done. I mean, nowadays I just want to make stupid cartoons.
Yeah.
Um, like because like when I see my student short films, I was definitely trying to do something and tell certain stories. But I think
Yeah.
now it's just like, man, I just want to make a stupid cartoon about Tom Cruise sprinting around the world and he just gets faster every minute, no matter what. Like I would just do that for a living. Oh my god!
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But
there's something nice about it, like not taking itself too seriously for sure.
yeah, so there's also joy in like I think for me comedy is super hard. Some
Yeah.
people think comedy is easy, but no. Like okay, so here's my opinion on something, and I maybe have certain thoughts about it too. But I would have someone laugh at my film that's trying to be dramatic and serious, rather than have someone not laugh and cringe with something that I'm trying to make funny.
Interesting. Both of
Because
those situations don't seem ideal to me, but explain.
for me, I like people having a good time.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like not take myself too seriously. So if people like have, some people when Wolf Song played in at the CalArts Open Show, and some people online would say like, oh yeah, that was a very emotional film, etc., etc. I cried. But then like at the screening, one, everyone's drunk, and then two, like everyone's like howling at the screen when that movie happened. It's like what, everyone's having a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
Are laughing because it is cheesy, and you know what, I just want people to sort of like enjoy or just have a way to have fun. But then like if you're making a funny thing and it's super funny, but everyone thinks like, oh, that was so lame. It's like, oh man, I'm so embarrassed. Why would I think that's funny?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is, yeah, that's a really good point because I think if you try to be funny and then it's not funny, I think that is one of the most embarrassing situations to be in, even if you're like just in casual conversation.
That's why I've always hated improv classes because I would do something that I think is funny, but it's just like crickets in the room, and you're like, oh, why did I do that? That's embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah. I do. I've never taken an improv class, but it um, seems like a ton of fun, and I like doing improv adjacent type things.
Wait, you know what I think now? Why I think that way about like why I would cringe if I'm trying to be funny, no one laughs. I think I know why I react that way. It's because maybe I'm trying to take myself too seriously in making people laugh.
Oh shit!
Big brain.
Interesting.
Oh my
Oh
god.
no.
I just realized like, oh, maybe I do take myself seriously. Like I'm thinking of a joke and I'm like, this is going to make people laugh because of this and that, and it's
Yeah.
gotta make people laugh. Yeah, I'm gonna make those son of a bitch laugh. And just laugh. Damn it. Time for therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Our friend Ahmed would agree that it's always time for therapy. He comes.
Yeah.
We have a mental health Monday. Well, we try to have it every week.
I vouch it all the time, especially like when I'm in a stream session like this. Like, people ask like, "Oh, what is the biggest recommendation you would give?" And I would always say, therapy, because there is. I think everyone needs to go through therapy. Like, you don't have to be super depressed, but you could have like a chip on your shoulder or a thought that's making you procrastinate or that's making you do some, unproductive things. So I think like therapy can help kind of like figure out what's causing that. So I would recommend it 100p. I would totally get rid of that stigma that like, oh, therapy's for weak emotional people because, there are still friends I have who are like that. Like, I would express something to them and they'd respond, to me saying things like, "Oh, I don't know, Toniko. I'm not your therapist. Go." And it's like, it doesn't have to be a weakness.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think I don't know. I like getting to the bottom of like why am I motivated to do a thing, or um, I think a lot of times artists can have very unhealthy motivations.
Yeah, like I know for a while like I was also driven by negative
Yeah.
feelings too. Like, yeah, I'm gonna show the suckers I can do it. Gonna prove them they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
negative energy. It's like I'm not really doing it for myself at that point.
That's exactly the motivation I'm I'm saying is not a good one.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like it has its places, but at the same time, it's like okay, appreciate that you feel like that. All feelings should be regarded. You shouldn't say things like, "Oh, oh, I wasn't trying to be negative about this." It's okay to have negative feelings. It's just now is also time to also find a way to find how this could be a very positive experience for you.
Yeah.
Um, because thinking about the negative all the time, it's going to burn you out so fast.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, you're already living sort of the independent life because you do everything, in your own terms. You have a business going on, and there's a lot of people that I know, including myself, would also ask you like, okay, so let's say I'm someone quitting the industry and I
Mhm.
want to be indie. What would your top suggestions or your top advice be for someone who is leaving the industry and want to try and do the indie route like you? Like,
Ooh.
because I know it's a big loaded question, but it's like there's a lot of industry people that do think about it.
I think the most important part is being all right with the idea of promoting yourself and not seeing that as a bad thing, because I don't see it as a negative at all. I think and what I mean by promoting is like a good example is like in your videos at the end you talk about your Gumroad course. Like I don't think that's a bad thing to do. Uh,
Yeah,
because one, you put out a course that's worth the money, and two,
thank
you know, if you put the effort in and you're proud of it, like, then you should. It shouldn't be seen as a negative to sort of share that. So I think that would be one of the first ones, just because money generally is the sort of the
yeah,
big fear that
it's a
people have.
circumstance that we all need to deal with. Like the world speaks and revolves around money. So
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. So you can't just exist and sort of do whatever you want all the time without people being like, "Hey, you have to pay your rent."
right, yeah.
Yeah. So those people will show up if you don't do that. So that's the first thing. I think let's see. Um, the self promotion one is a big one. Um, I think being able to, it sounds really lame, but believe that you are capable of doing it. So we
It's
make
like
yeah, I think we make a lot of fear-based decisions most of the time as people. So like
right.
you're if you're not doing something because you're afraid of it for whatever such and such a reason, I'm going to get bad feedback, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my house. There are obviously there's levels to this. Like if you have children and mouths to feed, don't listen to what the hell I'm saying. Um, but if you're someone like me who only has two pets who are relatively inexpensive,
What pets do you have? Like a cat and a dog, or
exactly, I have a cat and a dog. I did have a guinea pig as well, but he recently passed. That sweet boy.
was it like a health complication?
Yeah, he was old too. He was almost 5 years old, and he was just he was too strong for this world.
It was just too strong.
He was just too strong. He was a bit of a bully. He was very loving and emotional, but I just think the world wasn't ready. And
Oh man,
yeah, he recently passed, but yeah, they're the best. They're so sweet and awesome, and you know, like I was saying, if you have like if you it's easy to it's like to not do something because or to make decisions based on like, oh, that'll get me a lot of responses, or oh, that'll get me money. And a good example is like I could probably make a lot more money if I just focused on teaching like perspective and didn't focus on trying to make my own animations, because there's already clearly a market for just doing fundamentals and stuff.
teaching the online teaching space, especially for like art and animation, is so big right. It's hot, so hot and juicy right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm sweating bullets just thinking about it. Oh my god! But it is like everyone's getting into it.
Yeah.
Uh, People who didn't even consider teaching ever, because you can make good money teaching it. And I was talking to a friend of mine about like because some coworkers of mine are like starting their own online school like Red Seacrest, and then there's like people starting their own like mentorship programs.
Yep.
And I think one of the fear like one thing that a friend of mine we were talking about was like this friend asked me like, if you teach for this person and you decide to leave, won't you worry that this person is going to use what you taught and then teach it themselves? And then for me, I'm just like, well, that wouldn't worry me at all, because I don't teach them systems or like secret techniques. I mean, the joy of teaching for me is sort of the mentorship
Yeah.
with the students. Like, I mean, for me, like I treat teaching as a way of learning, and the people who say like teaching is easy, they're a part of me thinks they're half passionate about teaching, because it's like they're only teaching what they know, rather than like uh, really trying to get onto the students' like level of understanding, and then learning how to sort of help them grow. That's a whole other skill set, and that's kind of why I find teaching also super tiring, because
Yeah, yeah, it is very, very tiring, and I found myself very stressed out about everybody and whatnot, and I'm really bad at scheduling, so that didn't help.
It,
um,
yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's like because there are people who are like, oh, teaching is easy. I'm just going to show them how to do the Loomis, and then I'm going to show them how to board, and that's pretty much it. But no, I think like for me, I'm also very self conscious about
mhm.
like if I teach, I want to also help like people rather than just like
Yeah, yeah,
something because that's just to me like when I just preach something, that's just a waste of money.
yes. I also try the I had a class that I really liked that I was teaching. It was I might go back to it. It was I had a group lesson or a group through my Patreon, and it was $30 a month for 4 lessons a month, which I is a I thought was pretty solid for them because it's only $8 per lesson. Um, but the sort of agreement was like, okay, I'm gonna do things that are experimental and out of my comfort zone,
This
and we're
is
gonna.
for like casual streams and teaching.
This was I would do every week. I had like a class that I'd run through on Discord. So I would yeah, it was like they sign up on Patreon for it was $30 a month, and then we had like a special Discord server, and then we'd do a lesson through there. So like
Okay.
I might do a lesson on something that I'm a little less comfortable on. It might be like composite. I mean, not just composition, but like whatever the topic is, even if it's something that's sort of out of my comfort zone. But I'm personally going to try to learn through teaching it to them. And I always sort of allowed everybody to be like an active participant in it. So it wasn't like it's almost like we're all learning together. I'm not just sitting here on a pedestal teaching everybody.
Do you do that through like what Patreon or Gumroad, or
Yeah,
is that
so that was through Patreon, and then they would get special Discord perks, and so then I'd have them in like a class, and then I would send like a Zoom link out every Monday.
okay? Wow, that's I mean, kudos to you, like having that like set up and organized, and it sounds like it's working. Very structured and like it's something that you can always follow, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's I'm not I'm taking a break from it now, just because it is a lot of effort and energy to do all that, and I'm trying to teach a little bit less, but I felt like I gained so much from like teaching. Like I think if teaching is easy, then you're not pushing yourself also, I guess.
Yeah, like I mean, teaching like I think people think it's easy because it's like, oh, I'm just gonna set up a curriculum that I think is going to work 100p, and then I'm just gonna preach them like some inspiring quotes here and there, and yada yada yada. And man, no, like it's like no, there's a lot of work that goes into it, especially if you are passionate about teaching something too. Like I think the ones who say it's easy, it's like, are you really passionate about it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it
Are
can
you
be. Yeah, it's one of those things that you can sort of jump into if you have a skill set, but maybe you just don't like doing it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if let's say you were sort of like doing a very low costing class or a very casual session, something like that would make sense. But if you were like paying, if someone was paying you full price and you were just going to preach, it's just like, people can find that anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't like that at all. For me, my whole business plan was always low cost, high accessibility. So like get a lot more faces and people involved, and just make it super cheap.
And because I know like you stream a lot of videos on YouTube, and people who log into YouTube can watch those for free. Are those part of the lessons, or are they just like streams for your project right now?
Right now, they're not necessarily part of the lessons. So like the live streams that I'm doing are it's usually just like this, just without guests sometimes where I'm just working on my project and then I'll just share pretty much the whole process. So if anybody wants to steal screenshots and then make it their project, feel free to do that as well. Um, But yeah, I would. That's kind of working this way, so it's pretty much not much teaching. I do have a lot of footage from other stuff from like I'll put out abridged versions from Gumroad, or I'll take footage from some of the classes and convert that into a video, so I can still kind of keep that some YouTube output in terms of lessons. And as far as when I was teaching the classes, um, I just considered the YouTube an additional resource.
Yeah, I think YouTube is it's kind of like I would say YouTube is great as a sort of like a link gate to all these other things that you want to do. Like I mean, I don't see myself as a YouTuber or a YouTube personality because I that's not where my passion is. But it is good marketing for my other projects, and it is good passive income. By mean good, I think every passive income is good. Like no
Yeah.
matter how small, no matter how big, it's like it's still income. That's a good thing. I would definitely not leave my job for YouTube. That's suicide.
You don't want to be part of the vlog squad?
Like just say,
Or
hey guys, so I just woke up, loading my Toon Boom right now. I noticed my regs are a bit off, so I'm gonna use this tool sponsored by yada yada yada, Greg Schmeister. Um, yeah, please sponsor me, Toon Boom. Thank you. Bye.
yeah, there you go.
God, that would be like the most obnoxious animation channel.
Oh man, yeah, I would like to see it if you did it entirely sarcastic like that.
I could probably do like sarcastic, Patrick Bateman style, where I wake up putting some shitty charcoal mask. It's like
Yes.
I wake up from my room and then like footage of me like almost naked, and then I
Yeah.
do my stretches. So when I sit in front of the computer for 18 hours straight, I don't get puffy. Like maybe I could do it like that.
I have a video that I did that I want to send you at some point, which is it's a sarcastic video on how to succeed on YouTube.
Oh, I would want to see that. I love like just yeah, like if I were just to treat my YouTube just more of a fun place, I would do stupid things like that. But I would not be like, hey guys, so I'm being sponsored now. So this video is sponsored. Honestly, if
Raid
I got
Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends, yeah, like I get texts from my friends saying, hey, are you sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends yet? But honestly, if I got sponsored by something like Manscaped, oh,
That would be great.
be like that's when I quit. That's when I retire YouTube. That was my end
So
goal.
I just got hit up by Raid. I'm not even kidding.
Just wait, when? Just like now or
They
like
well no like yesterday. I'm debating about it because I'm pretty sure the game sucks. Pretty sure based on everybody's review it's not good.
oh
Um,
no. So is that? I think it's like they're trying to get people like because the reviews are just bad. They're really fighting for those sponsors because I see it everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
People are like, my favorite character is this. It's a great game. I'm like, really?
I'm wondering if I could do it in a way where the audience could be convinced that I'm being sarcastic, but the sponsor doesn't know that I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, that's always a hard one because it's like I think that requires a lot of dryness. So
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
Raid Legends is so good, I'm playing it while squatting in the toilet right now.
yeah,
Like it's like something like that. It's like okay, there's a bit of like both assholery and like respect to the product.
yeah, yeah. I've done a couple of like funny ones with Skillshare and stuff. Um, yeah, I try not to take the sponsors too seriously or try to poke fun at the sponsors at the same time because it is kind of like sellout isn't the right word, but it's like I guess whatever would be in line with that. Maybe it is. Maybe that is the right word. I personally don't agree that I don't agree with the ideology of selling out necessarily, but people could make that argument that that's what that is.
I think I mean it's whatever it is. It's money. And if there's but if there's money involved, it's like, and you can make that extra money. It's like, why not? Um, yeah, I don't see that as selling out. I just see it as part of the business, just like doing cartoon, like working for cartoons that you don't want to do. Does that make you sell out? To some, yeah, but it's work and it's income. I mean, whatever you're doing to make money, I guess everything I do is a sellout. I'm a sellout for animation, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so yeah, I think I've only done. I've never really did a sponsorship, but I did an ad for Ridge wallets.
Oh, Ridge
Um,
wallets are great though.
they didn't. They didn't. I asked for. I think I did at one point ask for the payment, but they were like, "Oh yeah, we're not doing any of that." So I said, "Okay, just give me like a bunch of your wallets for free." They
Yeah.
did. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I got a bunch of like Ridge wallets just sitting in my kitchen right now. So if I have a friend that wants a gift, it's like, you know, I have a bunch of Ridge wallet gifts sitting in my room. But it sounds like, I don't know, sponsorship sounds like so much work too. Like,
It's I don't know if it's that it's so much work more than it is like I don't like the idea of like if I'm working on a project and the YouTube if I don't want to make like an educational video and that's not sort of what I'm in the mood to do, um, then I don't like having that deadline put on by a sponsor.
yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so that's the really for me the biggest drawback because I've gotten a lot of the sponsors mad by not doing things in a timely fashion. So
Yeah, I can see that. Like, how that can also be, for me, I can see that being stressful because at that point, YouTube starts to feel like a job
yes,
rather than rather than just like a place of uh, stupid things happen. I will teach. Maybe I won't teach. Maybe I'll just troll you guys and swear in front of the camera.
yeah, yeah, and I like that. I think at times I've felt like it was becoming too much of a job. And I like the feeling I had when I first started, where it was like, oh, I'm just making videos because it's fun or because I enjoy putting stuff on the internet and sharing.
Yeah, like I think in a way, like YouTube did help me figure out like, oh, I actually do like sharing knowledge or sharing things that I learned over the
Yep.
course of time. YouTube helped me discover like, oh, I actually like just randomly casually talking about things, and at least there's an outlet for that, and people
Yes.
actually do like
Yeah.
that stuff. So um, it's also helped me discover things that can work for me in my current situation. Would I leave my full time job or quit just to do YouTube stuff? And no, because it's kind of like that thing where I do want to keep it separated from my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like if YouTube just engulfs too much of your life, I don't know if that's a good thing either.
No. As
Like
somebody that's been engulfed by
like
it.
it's like for work, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's work, and it's for a job and it's for a team. But with YouTube, it's like it's all you. Um, it could be also the most um, egocentric driven place to be
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. That is very true.
I know I have ego problems time to time. Like ego meaning that I tend to like compare myself or think too much about how I'm seen by others. So like that's kind of why I had to sort of put a safe distance
Like,
between me.
yeah, that is a really good point. I mean, I know we touched on it earlier, but yeah, having sort of that emotional barrier can be beneficial.
Yeah.
It's easy to
Um,
feel exposed when you're working and people have sort of a direct line of communication to you.
yeah, and it's like I am the type of guy who keeps my group small.
Yeah.
YouTube is there for me to just like express whatever and respond to a few comments, but I don't see myself like I've debated in like having a Discord channel. Like I have one, but it's private with friends. And then I thought about making one that's public. But then at the same time, it's like, do I really want to open that door where now like I have a community, I have a fan base.
We need the Toniko community. You need to make it happen. You have to
Like,
go back on all your morals and be the pop star that you were destined to be.
yeah, it's just like me just constantly cursing on the Discord.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck would you submit this fucking piece of shit?
I love it. I love it. All right, let me look at what you're doing because I'm sorry, I got distracted by what I was doing.
No worries. I'm also I've been relatively slow because I've been just like tying down and redoing the
Mhm.
drawing, so it feels a bit more angular, and the design sensibilities, the shapes are much less weirder, just
Yeah,
sharper.
can you talk about what you're doing? So you're making the shape language more triangular. Is it
Like,
possible to show the old some of the
yeah.
old drawings?
So I'm sure some people will say like the old art direction is better because yeah, I can see there's value to the old part. Here, let me see if I can set uh, the opacity of this thing.
I'm gonna make this bigger. The stream is gonna go a little crazy for a second.
Yeah, so like the old art, I mean, it's okay. It's like it's pretty good, and honestly, like if I decided to stick with this art style, I would keep it. Like, there's nothing wrong about it, but like there's a lot of strong curves to it,
Okay,
and the direction that I'm going for is a lot more angular.
cool.
And the lines are much thinner. Like here, the lines are definitely much thicker. But then, like in the newer direction, so if I were just to take one drawing and let's say I move this side by side, so this is just a tie down. I haven't cleaned it up yet. So I'm making the proportions are different too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the in the new design, like they're a bit more closer to real proportions, where the head isn't the same size as the torso like it was. It's now like a bit more geared towards like that realistic proportions, I guess, where everything feels a bit more human.
yeah.
Uh, so it's just like also making sure which parts are curved and which parts are straight, like straights versus
Yep.
curves in terms of character design. So there's a lot of like there's straights and curves here. That would be considered straight against this curve over here. But then like I'm really like just making it a lot
Emphasizing
more
that.
angular.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I people who look at my Instagram stuff know I like making all the shapes really sharp because it's fun.
It's like it makes things edgier, no pun intended, but definitely like it's like, oh, when I see these drawings, I'm on the edge. This is your curvy, soft curve, playful, childlike
Yeah,
Disney cartoons. It's your edgy, grown up,
yeah.
sharp curves. That's it's
Now
your
it's badass.
now this person's elbow is going to cut through glass rather
Yep.
than bounce off it.
And the
But
horns curving look. I like the shape of those better too.
so the horns, like I think in the past, like if this is the character's head, so I'm just gonna make a really angry person here. Um, so before I think it was just like that and then that, but then now like I just want to be a bit more playful and then have it kind of like a reverse
Yeah.
minotaur head, like the horns. If you look at it, the top view, it's I think it goes something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot better.
So it's just like me playing around more with the shapes and stuff. We just
Cool.
get it all back together. It's
People.
also
Oh, sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say it's also because like I've been looking at a lot of like the Sakuga stuff, and
Hmm.
they're very selective in like where to do straights and where to do curves. So
Yeah.
learning a lot from that. Whereas like the pentatouches from Disney, they're it's a lot more softer in terms of their stroke decisions, which is not bad at all. It's just like the certain look I'm going for. It's more of an artistic direction or
Cool.
choice. But yeah, you were saying?
I don't. Oh, I was going to say that people keep asking about the software. So I figured I'd ask you about that.
Oh, like software stuff.
Or what software you're using right now.
So this is Toon Boom Harmony. The reason why I'm using Toon Boom for this one is because the last version of this animation that I'm redoing was done in Flash, and I want to keep it vector. So I think the best choice for vector animation for me right now is Toon Boom, and it's also a way for me to learn Toon Boom, and that's a reason why I'm using Toon Boom right now is to learn the program better.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the reason why I'm using Toon Boom for this program. So I also use TV Paint for other stuff. So the great thing about TV Paint is that it's raster based, so it's like Photoshop. It calculates pixels rather than computer points and vertices. So it makes things like coloring and doing like hand drawn effects and motion blurs really easy to do. Like here's some line art. I could just like let me see if I can find that. That's that nice smudge. It's like it's easy to like do a smudge if I wanted to do that. And that's the benefit with like raster based programs. So yeah, that's what I'm using. I'm using a hard brown brush.
Are you using the super magical brush that makes all your drawings good?
Honestly, I just choose like a really basic brush. Like it's just let me see if I can find. It's just those.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and you know, there's been this whole like talk about brushes, and you might have your own opinions about brushes too. Like at first, I would always preach, yeah, whatever, brushes don't matter. Like the secret's not the brush. The secret is how you use them, and that part is also really true. But I think if you experiment with different brushes, it also allows you to think differently and how to use
Yeah.
those tools. So it does like flex your mind and your approach to things differently. So if I were to use a brush made out of penises, because I used to have a brush just for shits and giggles that was just like a boner, and it's like, okay, make a pretty drawing using this brush. Okay, it's like, oh, okay, so I gotta hide, some
The
information
shapes.
using the same brush, and it does force you to like, sort of like think,
Yeah,
in that.
yeah.
But aside from that stupid joke, it's not a joke, by the way. I tried it. It was crazy. But like, let's say if you were to use like a cloud texture, it's like, oh my god, I could use this for dirt. I could use this for fog.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, it allows those possibilities to kick in.
I feel like
Um,
it makes a bigger difference when you're painting than like sketching.
yeah, I think with sketching, I just keep it simple because I'm too lazy to think about brushes, and I'm not the type of guy who like makes brushes to begin with. Like I
Yeah.
just keep it simple because I don't want to like spend time coming up with the ultimate brush. Like there are people out there who make brush packs and say this is the ultimate. This is the power of my brushes. The ultimate pack of my brushes, and I think those are good. But for me, I probably wouldn't make brushes and showcase what it can do because I'm not a brush person.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm more of a person who likes to use other people's brushes and play with that
Yeah, and
rather
there's
than
plenty of like random brush packs out there that are awesome.
yeah, like you could get like a really weird brush pack with like celebrity faces for some reason, and it's like okay, I would I don't know what I would use this for, but I'll try it. Okay, cool. Let's speed paint a nice landscape using a face of Christopher Walken. Uh,
I don't know if you've done that yet, but I hope somebody does do it if you haven't.
Maybe one day. It'd be nice. It'd be a nice YouTube video. Like I get a screen cap of like the face of Tommy Wiseau
Oh shit.
and just make a drawing based off a really good portrait of him just doing using a brush with his face.
If you're open to doing some YouTube collaborations, we should make that happen.
Oh, I'm down for that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been a while. I'm not the best painter,
Neither am
but
I, so that's fine.
I would love to do painting again. Painting is kind of fun sometimes. Before animation, I wanted to be a concept artist.
Yes, I remember in your video that I just watched, you mentioned that.
Like, I think it was if I hung out with a different community, I would have stayed. But everyone just wanted to be like the next Craig Nealons or the next Feng Zhu. Um,
Yeah.
and they all just wanted to do like Gears of War concept art, and it just felt so broy to me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
But I'm sure it's like that in animation. It was definitely like that in animation. Yeah, now that I think about it.
I think anytime you get a lot of people together that are all very passionate about doing a thing, you can get that sort of broy mentality because it happened in biochemistry also, which is like not really a broy field.
I can imagine like, oh yeah, it's got to be done this way. This chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really not very broy. Actually, even there's a lot of very broy doctors, surprisingly.
I feel like that I can see that happening. Although like the doctors I personally know, like they're either like super calm or super emotionless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The older school doctors were like that, very calm and emotionless. I feel like the newer doctors, at least what I noticed in school, was like covered in tattoos, very muscular, like super jacked. Um, yeah, broy types.
It's getting. I think even the art communities like that too. There's a lot of like dudes who are just like really ripped and
Shit.
really shredded,
Maybe
and
the
they do.
world is just becoming more shredded, and I need to work out more.
It's like yeah, it's definitely. I wonder if it's like the influence of social media, um,
Probably.
and just like people being more self conscious about their vanity because it's like now there's like like there's a lot of like artists and animators who are very attractive, and they have a good lifestyle, and it's like they have their shit together, whereas like the image of like a cartoonist was like some guy who was just like disorderly, overweight, and was just a fan of cartoons. But no, I think the diversity of like the types of people getting into it is so vast now.
Yeah, I think in general that's happening in a lot of places. Just like it's probably yeah, it probably is the influence of the internet because
Like
you can be exposed to a bunch of different things that maybe people that were interested in like if you were traditionally like a jock type, you might not have been exposed to Dungeons and Dragons, but now you have Game of Thrones, so it's like you know you may get exposed to and enjoy that type of thing.
yeah, so I think it is just like the exposure to like all the things that seem really nerdy and uncool is a cool thing to be into now.
Yeah, it totally flipped.
Like I think now in terms of like animation, it feels like the anime scene is where all the cool kids want to be at, and all
Okay.
the 90-year-old men stuff is like, oh, that's old fashioned. Like there's a lot of friends that I know who want to get into animation not because of like the nine old men Disney stuff. That's a small part of it, but because they also want to. They said anime is probably the biggest reason. So I think like anime is like it's pretty hot and spicy now.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that as well. Just in terms of looking on the Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's just the times and
yeah,
learn how to like adapt to it too. It's always fun, and constantly learning about these things. It's like, yeah, I'm down for it.
Taniko, I hate to do this, but I think I'm gonna have to go in a little bit because your boy here is gonna get some dinner.
All right, it's a different time space over there.
I'm in a completely different time zone.
Yeah, the
Um,
sky's getting darker there. Oh no.
yes,
Yeah.
but I would love to have you on again at some point whenever you're free. I usually do these with a bunch of people as well, so it might be fun to have you on with a group as well if you'd be interested.
That could be
Um,
fun. Yeah.
yeah, I'll keep in touch. I'll just let you know when I'm doing stuff.
Sure, man. And honestly, like, dude, thanks so much for having me here too. And you're a cool guy to like chill out and talk with. Like,
Oh, thank you, man. It's the pleasure is all mine because I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. Just if anything, just to thank you because your content I think is one super educational and it helps to for someone like me that wanted to get into wants to get into this and do it full time and also just I think your videos have helped sort of the mental health aspect of it as well in the sense where
thanks, man.
yeah you're not the Feng Zhu you can't eat until you're done with your project kind of thing.
You can't eat until your project is done. Bleed,
Yeah.
bleed, motherfucker.
Yeah, and when COVID's done, I'll be out in California as well, so we'll get
Definitely.
together.
And I should also like fight. It's been 10 years, no, more than 10 years since I last. Yeah, 20 years since I last visited New York. So
Whoa, you got to get out here.
I gotta. So no, I mean, also like it's also good to know like I mean, talk to you too, because like what you do is what a lot of people are really curious about too. Like in terms of the people I hang out with, it's like how do I be more initiative about like doing my own thing? How am I able to succeed in that? And you are definitely like one of the inspirations for that. Like
Awesome.
it's like eventually it's like, oh man, who do I want to be more independent? Who am I going to hit up? Germs. So
Oh hell yeah! Thank you, dude.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
So it's also very cool that you're also learning a lot of things too while keeping it independent. It's a very hard thing to do, but
Yeah, I'm trying to monetize that learning process.
hell yeah, man, doing good
Yeah.
with that.
Well, thank you very much.
What are you getting for dinner?
Oh, what am I getting for dinner? I think I'm gonna get some sushi. That's where
Yeah,
it's at.
hell yeah.
Um, Thank you so much again. And I'm going to end the stream and then I will say my goodbyes to everybody in the stream. Thank you so much for watching. Somebody did sign up for the membership program and I didn't thank them. That was Adam Ibis. Thank you so much for signing up. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to watch any of these back, you can do so by using that join feature down below. It's just $5 a month. You get to watch all these videos back. You get to see cool conversations like this one. And I love you all, and I will see you all soon. Take care, everybody.
Guys,
Oh, and make sure to go follow Toniko on Instagram and YouTube. It's just Toniko Pantoja on both platforms.
if you want to see more swearing action from me, casual voices like mine, you know where to hit me up.
Exactly. Oh, and last plug, you should definitely get his Gumroad course if you want to do animation. It's really, really good. So do that and give him lots of money. All right, goodbye. All right, and that's the stream.